Hey guys, I'm Brad with Cumberland Valley. Just wanted to make a short video here about outrigger use when we're talking about sidewalks and asphalt driveways and things like that, and ways we can reduce damage to them. One of the biggest things is the outrigger pads that Aaron gets us. This pad is not made for bridging. These pads are mainly made so when you put this metal surface down onto an asphalt driveway or down onto concrete like this, you're not going to damage it from sliding. So these can slide on and it's okay. What I meant by the bridging is you never want to put these across in a bridging fashion where there is nothing supporting the center here. They're not designed for that, and these are pretty flexible. So one thing that you guys can do to mitigate this, the biggest thing we could do is let's just move the truck that way or move the truck this way, just a couple feet, and that might be enough. Now I know a lot of times we can't do that. If we can't do that, some of the things we can use is we can use cribbing. This is basically a 2x4 now. It was a split 2x8 or something, and this is just a 4x4. If you guys have something like this on your trucks, I normally had like a 2-foot piece where, you know, this piece cut in half would be perfectly good for, you know, any sort of cribbing that you guys might need. And normally it's only going to be on one side of the truck, not normally going to be on both sides. But if you were to do something like this, you know, you can use, if you've got a 2x4 like this, you can use this to bridge that gap in between. If you've got a larger gap, something where you could put a whole 4x4 across there. So it really depends. I know.
Brad, let's show them real quick. So since we're going to set the outrigger down right here, put both 4x4s down, outrigger pad on top, and then if you absolutely had this set up in a place like this, you want that gap. Let's use the other one too. Let's throw the other one down there too. You want that gap to be solid. But there we go. That's more what we're looking for. So if you are in that situation, as Brad said, that's what we're looking for. Something to fill that in so we're not angling down on the edge of a driveway or the edge of pavement or the edge of a sidewalk. But all right, I'll be right back. So what you saw there was just our attempt to, demonstrate the problems you have, the nuances you have with setting outriggers up on the edges of concrete. Don't be afraid to do it. Brad did there, dig it out a little bit if it's gravel or something like that. I mean, you want to make that edge as clean as possible so your outrigger float is not, tipping one way or the other, and we're not at risk of breaking the edge of that concrete off. So that's outrigger set up. And thank you, Brad, for that, but we're going to trade places here, and I'm going to talk real quick about driving a truck, whether it's a crane or bucket truck. Just touch the screen if it goes black. If driving a bucket truck or heavy truck, anything up and onto a driveway or sidewalk or off of such surfaces. So it's a lot of the same stuff. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is when salesman or manager sends you out and they say, hey, we're going to be driving over sidewalks, so please take mats, take plywood, and bridge that. A lot of guys will just throw mats down over the edge and then on top of the sidewalk. And that is going to offer you some protection, but it's certainly not the best as far as avoiding breaking the edge of that concrete. So what I like to see is when you're doing this, those mats, or your initial layer of mats, should be right against that edge. And if they're not flush, they need to be higher than what you're driving onto. That way, when the tire rolls across the mat, it's coming down onto the concrete or the driveway or the sidewalk, and it's not putting any pressure right here on the edge. You're going to avoid, if my foot were the tire, you're going to avoid that right there, and that's where you're going to get most of your damage. That's when we're going to break sidewalks and driveways. Same thing goes for when we're driving off of driveways. Same thing. You want to make sure, you almost want to be driving up and off of concrete or driveway or sidewalk. So again, when you're coming off of something, put your mats right as close as you can to that edge of the pavement, so you're coming from the edge of the concrete or whatever surface it is, up and off, and then down off the mats. So that's really it. Brad, anything else I forgot about sidewalks or anything like that?
No, I think that's pretty well it.
The only thing we didn't mention was driving up and over curbs. So that's more of an issue with, you know, being nice to the truck, because you can bend tie rods, you can tweak axles. I know years ago, I remember driving over a very specific high curb that I thought, I don't need anything to get over that. And I got over it, but then I immediately noticed a shimmy going down the highway at the end of the day. So I had obviously bent something. When you're going over curbs, when you have to go over curbs, you can stack outrigger pads, you can stack mats. You don't need to make a ramp to get over a high curb, but you definitely need to have something, you know, half the height of the curb. If you have something like this on your truck, and let's say our curb is right here, a nice one of the nice big brand new, like foot high ones, nice brand new cement, you could do something like that to where that tire that's closest to the curb, or the one that goes over it first, you know, it's got to step on that inch, and then 4 inches, and then up onto the curb. And if you have, you can use outrigger pads, stack them on top of each other, anything to make that sudden jolt a little bit easier. But yeah, that's all we wanted to go over real quick, was driving on or off of driveways, setting outriggers up, mainly bucket truck outriggers, on the edge of pavement. And I'm going to attach a picture to this video of a unit that was set up in Shippensburg. It was there for 3 days, and these guys had an outrigger just teetering on disaster all 3 days. Probably should have stopped and said something, but I didn't. Anyway, that'll be attached. Thanks to Brad for helping out with this, and you guys have a good Friday.
And the only other thing that we wanted to mention was, so when you're driving down the road, if you're going to hit something, it's going to be the curb. It'd be the first thing you get to, not the sidewalk, the curb. A lot of times the curbs, if you've ever seen a new street being put in, the curbs are really, really tall. Like the curb can be 8 or 10 inches below grade, below the road level. And you guys know how easy it is to break a sidewalk. The chance of you breaking the curb is not likely. The chance of you breaking a 3-inch or a 2-inch sidewalk, or a lot of the driveways we're on are only an inch skim coat of asphalt. Just things to think about. Thanks guys, and have a good weekend.